This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Unless indicated, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
Use the police department.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
The motor vehicle accident.
Just to emergency service.
You breathing?
Stay on the line.
Come on. You guys can do it now.
They're in good hands here.
It takes a certain kind of person to perform a truly heroic act. Someone who couldn't live with himself if he saw anyone in trouble and did nothing about it. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of unwavering courage and unfailing heroism on Rescue 911. We begin on a quarter-mile racetrack outside Denver, Colorado. Most of the footage was taped on July 22nd, 1989, in front of tens of thousands of spectators.
The Denver race in 1989 was really kind of a celebration because the track was thought to not exist anymore due to highway construction and some other things. But the people involved managed to resurrect it, really, bring it back from the ashes and make a fantastic facility, which nobody really expected. So there was a really kind of a celebration going on. Gosh, it's just a great place to race. Great fans and beautiful weather.
On this Saturday, funny cars were racing. High-powered vehicles capable of reaching nearly 300 miles an hour in less than 6 seconds.
If you're in that starting line area, you're talking 8,000 collective horsepower with nitromethane fuel. The ground, or the grandstand, literally vibrated.
The races take only seconds, watched over at both ends of the track by the Safety Safari, a professional team of firefighting and medical rescue workers.
Every race I go to, I get scared every time funny cars run because you never know what they're going to do. With that many horsepower and that much power just waiting to be unleashed, and sometimes it's just like a hand grenade waiting to go off. You sit there and hope nobody pulls the pin.
The Safety Safari keeps the track meticulously clean. Grease and oil interfere with the traction, essential for safety. And each day they methodically check their rescue equipment. At any instant, it may be needed to save a life.
All of the funny cars, like the other categories, race in qualifying sessions. When qualifying is over, the 16 quickest cars go into final eliminations on Sunday.
It was 20-year-old Don Gay Jr.'s second Top Fuel funny car race. In this heat, he would face a legend.
When anybody lines up against a champion like a Don Prudhomme, the gunfighter with a big reputation, you want to knock him off, especially a young driver like Don Gay Jr., just for his own personal satisfaction. Even though it's qualifying, even though it really doesn't mean anything, only your time matters.
We were having a lot of trouble with our car. And he's a young kid and a real aggressive kid. And I didn't want this young kid to beat me.
Donnie was trying to follow his racing champion father. But this day had been somewhat disappointing. And this was his last chance to qualify for a better starting position in tomorrow's race.
We heard someone holler on the radio, there's a fire. So at that time, we put the truck in gear and started easing out. We seen him coming up the hill, and a lot of flame.
We went towards him, and the car was still idling. And we figured something was really wrong because he wasn't shutting the engine down. He wasn't trying to stop. He wasn't trying to come out the escape hatch out of the top. We all had to turn around and chase him back.
I thought I was watching a man burn to death. And I've been in that situation more than once and don't generally feel that way. I have never seen a driver inside the car for that amount of time before there was some coolant applied.
Because Donnie's car kept going, the safety safari lost valuable seconds chasing it down.
Jerry had the hose inside the side hole in the window of the car, putting water on him. And then at that time, Don Berdome also came up to the back of me.
The first thing that came to my mind is that, hey, I've got my fire equipment still on. I have my helmet on, gloves on, and we got to get this kid out of the fire. He had a seat belt on. It was a double locking belt. I reached in and turned the belt and hit it as hard as I could, and it finally popped loose.
Several of the guys burnt their hands and everything because a few burns is nothing if we get a driver out.
I climbed up on the rear wheels of the car and straddled the roll cage. Took us just a minute or two because everything was hot.
Get on the ground. It's on the ground. Get his helmet on. Let's get the helmet on. Get the helmet on. Sorry, give me that tube.
He already had stopped breathing when we arrived and got him out of the car.
Go out with it. Go off.
Got it.
Piece of air. Give me some more tube. Give me an ET tube.
He's got a mouthpiece in. He's got a mouthpiece in.
Give me some air. Get a mouthpiece, Ronnie.
I pretty much figured that he was in respiratory arrest or even full arrest. Even his eyes had already dilated, so I knew time was against us. We had to work fast.
You hear me? Hold that for you. Don? You hear me? Don? That's a boy. That's a boy now.
You got 1 to 4 minutes that is a good legal time to try to bring someone back. 4 to 6 minutes, you're really playing with danger. Your brain cells are not acquiring the oxygen and are dying. After we hit him with a third time with a third ambu bag full of air, his body, I felt his body flinch.
All right. Folks, let's clear the scene.
Give me one if you got one.
Okay, just be cool. Gonna give you some oxygen. You hear me? Okay, just gonna give you some oxygen. Donnie, you recognize me?
I yelled at him. I said, Donnie, do you know who I am? And he looked over and he said, you're Don Perdone. And I thought, a smile came on all of our faces.
Donnie. All right, be cool. No, wait, no. It's air, baby. Breathe.
Just breathe
normal.
I was calming him down because, he was trying to breathe too fast. He done got excited, and I sure didn't want him to go back out after getting him back in because we may have more trouble going into shock or something else.
He's in there.
You got an IV?
He calmed down and he listened to me. I told him it'd be a stick in his arm because we was fixing to start an IV for more fluid for him in case we had to put some more drugs to him, that we also had that available.
From a suite in the racetrack tower, Donnie's grandparents had seen his car go up in flames. Marie Gay had no other information about his condition.
All right, guys, let's back up.
She burned it off. Oh, that's right.
What was incredible to me was his grandmother, Marie. She was the most collected of all of them. And she's down on her hands and knees saying, "Breathe, Donnie. Breathe, Donnie." Just in a very controlled voice. She didn't add to any panic that there might have been. What a strong lady.
Donnie's fire suit had protected him from the flames, but the red-hot metal inside the car had severely burned his arms, and the intense heat had caused the sweat to boil on his back.
He had inhaled a fair amount of flame, and of course that inhalation burn that people get is a very critical issue, and you don't know for 24 to 36 hours how serious that particular injury is going to be. We knew that he had some second and third degree burns on his arm and on his back, but it was less than 10% of his body, and that was not our immediate concern. It was more the lungs and what he had inhaled.
Right over there.
Security behind us.
Behind you, bullet. Fuel tanks.
Don Gay Jr. was rushed to a trauma center, where he was treated for flame inhalation and burns. He was released from the hospital after 11 days. The safety safari had saved his life.
What I should have done is let off and waited for another day, another race. But I was racing Don Perdome. I was ahead of one of my idols. Well, that's where I messed up and lost control and hit the wall, and I was knocked out. And from then on, I don't remember anything till they revived me.
Every safety safari guy is very proud of what he does, and it makes us feel good when we do something and it turns out good. I mean, it's a lot of pride in that whole operation.
In this particular accident, if it had been at a track, let's say, where we didn't have a safety safari like we have in NHRA racing, I don't believe that he would have made it. I think he would just burn up in the car and he'd been gone.
What tune is this?
Burn up.
It's the same one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, let it clean up that well, huh?
After he had the wreck in Denver, it was no more racing. His first words, "Daddy, no more racing, no more racing." And I said, "That's right, son, no more racing.
Would you send it back?
It's over with. Everything's for sale. It's gone." And when he told me that, it was over with. Then we came back and he started changing his mind in the hospital. And when he did, I said, "We'll see. We'll see." "No, order my fire suit." "No." I said, "We'll see." And so right now, we're going to keep him parked for a while.
I want to race very, very bad. But I think God wants me to take a little time off. I really feel that. I feel that I came too close and I shouldn't be here. I'm grateful to Perdome and all the guys on the safety safari. There's no way I could ever thank them enough. It's a life. How do you thank somebody for saving your life? How can you there's no possible way to ever do it completely. I want them to know that I can never thank them, and I always be in debt to them.
Next.
He's running eastbound on 4th. Okay, he's turning to the south, and he's by the rental place approaching 7th Street.
For cops working at night, darkness can make it almost impossible to catch a fleeing suspect, even from a helicopter. Any tree or even a deep shadow can hide a man so thoroughly that pursuing police lose his trail. But in Fort Worth, Texas, the police have found a high-tech way to see in the dark. It was sometime around 10 on the night of July 18th in a suburban neighborhood of Fort Worth. Using actors and officers involved, we have reconstructed the events of that night according to police and eyewitness accounts.
I was lying in my bed and I heard a noise. It sounded like a small motor, so I peeked out the blinds and saw a guy with a weed eater, and I wondered why somebody would be doing lawn work at 10:30 at night, and so I watched him to see what he was doing. At first I thought that he had locked himself out of the house, but then I decided that he didn't act like a person that had locked himself out of the house. He was acting too afraid. Whatever he was doing, he wasn't supposed to be in that house. And that's when I decided to call the police.
419 emergency?
The eyewitness's call came in at 10:19 p.m.
There's somebody that's breaking into the house next door.
What's the address of the house next door?
I'm not sure what it is.
Is it an apartment or a house?
It's a house.
And what do you see?
There's a
The whole time I was talking to him, I was watching the window.
Have a description of the man?
He looked like a Mexican. He was wearing shorts and a kind of a tank top and black hair.
I wondered if there was anybody in the house. That was the main thing, is that if there was anybody in there, I was afraid for them, and I wanted the police to get here.
Okay, we'll get to our right answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
The police immediately dispatched Air 1.
Monticello Drive, last name Nicholson, sighted a Hispanic male wearing a tank top and shorts, just crawled in through the back window of a darkened residence next door. The residence is actually on Monticello. The white residence, second from the corner to the north.
When the call went out, Flight Officer Larry Henderson and Pilot Jay Dixon were only a couple of miles away.
About one. Okay, there's the house over there.
Air 1's flare system allows officers in the helicopter to see the heat of objects and people on the ground below, even when it's dark, and often even when they're hiding.
We get on a scene on a call like that, and we were using the FLIR, which is the infrared device. We did not see anybody in the backyard or on the grounds proper, but out front there was a truck and a person standing next to the truck.
Air 1 John 13, we have a subject out in front of the house standing at a vehicle, something in the back, appears to be a lawnmower.
The first officer on the ground arrived within 10 minutes.
There was a black female by a parked car in front of the residence. It was just unknown at that time exactly who she was.
What are you doing here? My husband and I more than known. He's back there.
She just was talking loud enough so that whoever was inside the house could hear as well.
Come over here. Come over here. What are you doing over here?
Officer Gary Gendron and his partner were next on the scene.
Is anybody with you?
She was excited, like she had been startled, looking up towards the helicopter and towards the back of the house, as though she was expecting someone to come from the rear of the house. The helicopter had already started its flare system and had taken up a position in the back of the house where they had been told the suspect had gained entry.
Looking down into the house, you can pick up a heat differential in that if there's an open window, the warm from the inside of the house will show up as that window being a warm spot.
Air 1 to John 13, just for your information, it appears we have an open window at the back of the house. Shows up on the infrared as a heat differential. 10-4, John 13 A to B, you're going to take that?
I jumped the backyard fence and made my way toward the window area. Officer Dotson made his way around the back to my location.
John 210 to John 213.
Everybody was kind of on alert at that point. The window was broken around back and had been broken with a weed eater, which was still laying about 3 feet from the open window.
I went ahead and put her into my car as a safety measure to keep her from running off while I'm trying to secure the front of the house.
We went ahead and made a decision to go ahead and enter the residence and have Officer Gendron cover the front while we did make entry.
The first thing we noticed when we came to the back bedroom was that the house was completely ransacked. I'm not sure what he was looking for, but every room was just completely ransacked and in shambles. We weren't sure if the suspect was still inside the residence. It's kind of like hide and seek, but for real.
Nobody in the kitchen area. House is clear.
A car drove up and asked me if I was looking for a black male with a white muscle shirt on, because there was one running down the street.
Everyone, subject in a vehicle just advised there's about 2 blocks down on West 5th Street.
When I told the helicopter that a suspect was heading down the street, they started scanning the street with their infrared system. The helicopter picked him up as he was nearing a patrol car that was coming up the street.
10-4, John 213, you 10-4.
Have anybody else out here that can cycle him?
He's running eastbound on 4th.
He's running eastbound on 4th.
Okay, he's turning to the south, and he's going to be on whatever the side of the street is run by 7-Eleven.
My partner and Officer Dotson were in the house, so it left me. So I went ahead and took a route with the female in my car. Air 1 called the pursuit. I monitored the streets that Air 1 called.
Still southbound, he's by the rental place approaching 7th Street.
Approaching 7th, 10-4, John 210, you clear.
K9's chasing him now. He's out by the post office and JJ's Hideaway.
I was heading eastbound on West 7th Street, where the helicopter last said he was heading back towards West 7th Street. I saw the beam of light coming towards me, so I knew the suspect was running towards me.
Heading westbound. Cutting back to the north, be coming out on 7th Street. Westbound on 7th Street, approaching Monticello Market.
I saw him when he came around the corner of the building, and once he saw my patrol car, he darted across the street.
Officers have him. They're taking him down now.
The suspect we were chasing was in good physical condition and could have outran just about any of us that were there at the scene. So I believe he would have gotten away without the infrared system.
At nighttime before, I figured the helicopter at night was probably a marginal assistance. With the FLIR, it is a major factor in police work. It is a very good tool, and I cannot imagine doing the job without it.
Using the FLIR in pursuits has worked out real good for us. We can go out, and find these people and deal with them a little misery.
The suspect is awaiting trial for burglary. The woman was not charged. Next.
He started rolling backwards, and all I heard was a yell, and I looked up, and I saw him going off the cliff.
There's nothing like the feeling of freedom that comes from riding fast through rugged country on seldom traveled trails. But that remoteness can quickly become deadly. A stuntman helped us reconstruct the events that began on August 16, 1989, along an isolated stretch of the Canadian River. For a vacation, Jerry Mayhew had taken his twin sons into the hills outside Amarillo, Texas, to ride the dirt bikes he had given them for Christmas.
My sons and I have been wanting to go up there and go riding on the river. There's all different kind of trails, and there's good hills to climb.
We were on our way to Chicken Creek, and it was real rough country. It was hard to ride. Kevin, he was at the front, and the trail was too narrow for anybody to pass him up.
13-year-old Kevin Mayhew was leading the way. At the edge of a 30-foot cliff along the river, his bike ran out of gas, and he lost control of it.
He started rolling backwards, and all I heard was a yell, and I looked up, and I saw him going off the cliff. I was just stunned.
Kevin! When I looked down, I was just hoping he was still alive. Kevin! And I didn't know whether he's even breathing because the motorcycle was on top of him.
I thought he was dead, and then I started thinking, this can't be, Then my dad got down there to him. He ran as hard as he could.
I was just scared to death. Kevin? I turned him over. Kevin? And at that time, I noticed he was breathing. His arm was pulled around backwards, and his elbow broke. Man. And I noticed on the side of his helmet, that side of it was cracked open. I just hoped that I didn't make any mistakes, If I turned him over, I didn't know if his neck was broke, what kind of injury he had.
Is he okay? Anything broken?
Kevin needed to get to a hospital immediately, but they were miles from the nearest phone.
He told me, "You're gonna have to go for help." And I said, "Well, I don't know the way out of here." And I didn't know where to go.
Jerry was forced to go for help himself and leave 13-year-old Kenny to take care of his badly injured twin.
Hey, hurry.
I had no idea how long it was going to take. I told him to stay there with Kevin and don't leave till I got back, because I would be back.
His elbow was real blue. I saw part of his bones stuck to the side of his skin, and he wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't answer anything I'd say. I was thinking, what if he stops breathing? I didn't know what I could do.
I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just afraid that he was going to be dead when we got back.
Kevin? I was scared every time he'd raise up. I was thinking, he's hurting himself. I was afraid he was going to roll over and fall in the river or something. So then I thought, well, I'm going to have to pack sand around him. It just kept going through my mind, when's he going to get back?
It took Jerry more than 45 minutes to go the 7 miles to the highway. Then the call went out, summoning help from all over the county.
Carter County Sheriff's Department, off Casto? Yep.
From 20 miles away, one of the first to answer the call for help was Tim Dockery, head of the local volunteer fire department.
I knew that there was a time factor involved from the information that the dispatcher had given me, and did a lot of time had already been lost.
The only way they was going to get him out was a helicopter.
He's about 7 miles up the river.
And they said, we have no helicopter. There is no rescue helicopter. It hasn't been for 12 years. And I thought, not in this day of time. This can't be happening, you know.
It felt like days and days, because every second I was just, hurry up, hurry up. I was wondering that my dad, maybe he would have wrecked or something, you know, as fast as he was trying to go. I'd either hear, like, another motorcycle, or I'd hear noises from the river running, and I'd look, and no one was there. I just started going crazy.
After 4 miles of increasingly rough roads, the rescue workers reached a point where it was just too rugged and narrow for cars to proceed.
The father had led us back to where we could not drive any farther with four-wheel drive vehicles. You could see the fear on his face. He knew that his son was hurt, and hurt bad, and he needed, to help back there as soon as we could. Every precious second counts.
Only one person could ride the 3 miles in with Jerry. The rest would have to walk. Because he was a trained EMT, Tim was chosen, but he could only bring in the medical supplies he could carry.
I felt really relieved. I felt, my dad's here. They didn't waste no time at all, talking or nothing. He just started working on Kevin.
His abdomen was getting distended and very rigid, and I knew right then and there I had internal injuries, and that's when I knew we had some serious trouble.
Got to get the rest of my gear in here.
If you've got internal injuries and possible back injuries, one wrong move by any one of us could have paralyzed him or even fatally wounded him. We could not carry him out. Kenny had packed him in sand to keep him from rolling off in water. So the best thing I could do was just leave him there. The boy needed a trauma surgeon's what he needed.
To get Kevin out safely, they had to find a helicopter. But Tim's hand radio was not powerful enough to reach anyone.
Let me speak to someone in charge, please.
As rescue workers began to converge on the scene, county emergency coordinators tried to locate a helicopter to get the boy out. It had already been 2 hours.
We've got out in the Canadian River, we've got a young boy who is unconscious and unresponsive. The only way we can get him out is by air. If you don't have any here left now, we'll go in another direction.
Come on, get that gear over here.
It's a sick feeling, it really is, to see this boy laying there and not being able to do more for him. This boy was going to die if we did not get him out. You wish that you're Superman sometimes, you could just fly him, out of there, but you can't do it. There's just no way.
Deputy Jerry Brinkley had to climb to the nearest high ground, where the reception was better, to be able to relay ongoing reports of the boy's vital signs to the hospital.
821, 820, copy.
821, go ahead.
It was a big shouting match.
Respiration, 28 and shallow.
Respirations, 28 and
For a
shallow.
long time, that's the only communications we had.
They located a helicopter, but it could not leave its own jurisdiction unless someone's life was in immediate danger.
Okay. Is the boy in a life or death situation?
Ham said he needed him airlift today.
Okay. Hello, no, I'm here. Need you to come up at this point to the Canadian River Bridge on the Dumas Highway is where they'll start to. Uh-huh.
When the paramedics got to the scene, Kevin's condition seemed to be deteriorating. They put him on an IV. There was not much else anyone could do but wait for the helicopter to arrive from 90 miles away.
I felt like I've just waited to the limit, and then I got to wait a whole lot more, you know. And then the paramedic kept on saying, we got to get him out here. Each time he said that, that just made me even more scared.
You think about everything and you don't want to think about nothing. Just a congestion of memories going through your head all at one time.
I knew what Kenny had felt like, sitting back there waiting for someone to show up. And all you could do was just sit and wait and listen to the river go by, and that was it.
Hey, Kevin?
Kevin. Kevin?
It seemed like it took 3 days before the chopper ever got there. Then you could hear the chopper coming up over the hill. It was a very good sight to see that chopper come over that hill.
Spark service, the lady's got some flares lit or something on top of the hill.
Don't be kind of noisy, bud. You need to cover him up. Okay.
There was a sigh of relief, but yet there was still a feeling of what was really wrong with him, if he was going to be all right. The 13-year-old boy has a lot of life left in him.
"4 hours after the accident, Kevin was finally transported to the hospital. His kidney had been punctured, and he underwent surgery for a severely broken elbow. But trauma surgeon Dr. Charles Allison found no serious head or neck injury.
I feel that this patient's outcome was influenced very strongly by the protective equipment that he had in place at the time of the accident. He had a helmet on, shoulder and rib protection, and also some pads to the lower legs. If he hadn't had those on, I have no doubt but that there had been a good possibility of him being killed instantly with his fall.
2 months later, Kevin Mayhew's life has almost returned to normal. His kidney is healed, and his cast will be removed within a few weeks. His family remembers more about the accident than he does.
I could hear my dad, I could hear him talking to me, but I couldn't wake up, but I knew I was there. I could hear the helicopter running and feeling him lift me off the ground in the helicopter. I hardly don't know anymore what happened then on.
I can say that the reward goes to all the paramedics who got there to him. They all done a terrific job. And the most credit goes to is Kenny, because he stayed there with Kevin. That has to be the bravest thing that a boy can do, is stay with his brother like that for that long a time.
Here's money to get me grips, it's ripped. This experience has changed a lot the way I feel with my brother. I just want to give him as much support as I can. Sometimes during the accident, I worry about he'd die or something. I always kind of feel like he's going to be there and I'm just used to them. I don't think I can live without them.
I'm just glad they're together.
Next,
we didn't think their chances were that great. It's very difficult to stay afloat and fight off the elements when you're in 8 to 10 foot seas.
On Thursday morning, January 19th, 81-year-old Thomas Pettigrew, a lifelong seaman, and his 80-year-old wife, Katie, left Lockwood Marina in Charleston, South Carolina, with food and water for a day fishing trip. It would not be nearly enough. Thomas is portrayed by an actor, but the rest of the people involved have returned to help us tell their story. Ever since Thomas retired, the Pettigrews have gone fishing at least once a week.
Fishing is a lovely sport, and I really love fishing. We went to one place, we didn't get any fish. There wasn't any biting. And so it was around 3 o'clock that we decided to come home.
As they began to head back home, the weather turned rough and the winds picked up. Their 17-foot boat was being pushed off course, further out into the Atlantic Ocean. Luck was against them that day. Their compass had gone bad. So Thomas and Katie headed for the nearest visible land, Seabrook Island, one of many resort islands off the coast of South Carolina. As they were fighting their way back to shore against the weather, their boat ran out of fuel.
When we seen we couldn't make it, we anchored there and we could see the shore and we could see people walking up and down. We blowed the horn and everything, but nobody paid any attention.
January nights come early. It was rapidly getting dark and cold. Without any power, the only thing to do was to stay anchored and try to attract the attention of someone who could help them. But their flares went unanswered.
And so we stayed to Seabrook that night.
On Friday, friends and relatives of Katie and Thomas began to report the couple missing to the police and the Coast Guard. They had last been sighted to the north of Charleston on Thursday afternoon. A search was launched in that area, led by Coast Guard Lieutenant James Howe.
We started an 18 by 12 mile search pattern, 18 miles to the north, 12 miles to the east. And we searched legs 1 mile apart, which would give us a fairly high probability of finding these folks if they were out there. The weather at that point was just starting to deteriorate, and that's how the conditions remained for the next day. We didn't think their chances were that great. Still, we never give up until there's really no hope to look anymore.
The Coast Guard searched throughout the night until very early Saturday morning, but found nothing. By then, waiting friends and relatives, like the Pettigrew's grandnephew Wayne Moore, were becoming very worried.
That was one scary day. As old as they were, with the limited supplies that they had, dealing with what they had to deal with out there. Plus his medical history, you know. He has a severe heart condition. They didn't see a chance of him surviving past the second day. A lot of family members thought they were already dead.
At daylight, the search resumed. Katie and Thomas Pettigrew had been missing for 2 days.
We got dispatched out into the worst weather we've seen in a long time around here. It's very difficult to stay afloat and fight off the elements when you're in 8 to 10 foot seas. One breaking wave could capsize their boat or swamp their boat, throw them into the water.
As the authorities later pieced the facts together, the Pettigrews faced their worst piece of luck as the big storm system moved in on Saturday. Their small boat was blown off its anchor, leaving them helplessly adrift in the fierce winds and currents of the Atlantic Ocean.
Let's go ahead and increase speed to full speed, get on scene in about 2 hours.
All right, Kim. Saturday night, we decided to go out one more time on one more sortie. So we went out around 8 o'clock at night on Saturday night and searched till around 4 in the morning Sunday with no results at all.
The seas had become too rough. The Coast Guard vessels returned to port. Katie and Thomas had been missing for 3 days. That Sunday, at the Pettigrew's church, special prayers were said for the safe return of the missing couple.
I had been praying constantly. Even a man without his medical problems would find it hard to survive out there because the Atlantic can be nasty at times. Mother Nature has a way of reminding you who's boss.
Late on Sunday, rain and rough seas forced the search for Katie and Thomas Pettigrew to be called off. They were presumed lost at sea. When we continued,
we looked down a deserted stretch of beach where a boat laid on its side, and there was a little white flag on it.
Hey, Tim, look at that. There's a boat down there.
Monday afternoon, a Marine Corps helicopter Angel 1 had just completed a routine exercise in air search and rescue 45 miles south of Charleston. It was returning to base, piloted by Captain Mike Hengel, with Navy medic Albert Hotch on board.
We had just completed a routine training operation, and we're transiting south along the Atlantic coastline, and we looked down a deserted stretch of beach where a boat laid on its side, and it kind of looked like Gilligan's Island or whatever. It was just laid there stranded, and there was a little white flag on it.
Hey, Tim, look at that. There's a boat down there.
I was pretty sure something was wrong when I saw the white flag on the boat. The next thing I saw was some civilians waving their arms. We landed down the beach, and I sent Sergeant Oliver over. He jumped out, and I said, "The Pettigrews, this could be the Pettigrews."
Somebody couple said they've been here on the beach and been stranded for 5 days. 5 days? Yes, sir, 5 days. Okay, wait one. Hey, ask them if they're the Pettigrews out of Charleston. Dude, that's affirmative. They are the Pettigrews out of Charleston. Wow, that's incredible.
They couldn't exactly look like angels, but after they say they was Angel 1, well, I believed them.
We stabilized them as best we could and got them on the helicopter. Mr. Pettigrew, he definitely needed to get back and get seen at a hospital. He was weak and dehydrated and just suffering from exposure. Mrs. Pettigrew, boy, she was a ball of fire. She was sitting back there just happy enjoying the helicopter flight, you know. When I found out that they were 80 years old, I was pretty shocked to know that they had survived that long.
Their 5-day ordeal finally over. Katie and Thomas Pettigrew were flown to a hospital only minutes away, where Dr. Lester Haddad was on duty.
I was so amazed at how well they looked, the fact they're awake and their vital signs are normal. There were some medical problems, obviously. Both of them had starvation. They both had severe environmental exposure. But here was an elderly couple out at sea for 4 days with no food or water, and they never gave up hope.
Within a few days, Katie and Thomas were driven back to their house in Charleston by their grandnephew Wayne, where a crowd of friends and family were waiting to welcome them home.
They were all standing on the sidewalk. They flocked towards the car. It looked like a riot was going on here. Everybody was all smiles and all happy to see them. That's when they really found out how much they really mean to us. Just an outpouring of joy and love is what it was.
Glad to have you. I never did give up on you. People I didn't know come and hug me and say that I prayed for you for your safe return. And I'm so glad because it was a miracle.
Life has gone on for the Pettigrews. 6 months later, their boat has been repaired. And in spite of all that happened to them, they can't stay away from the sea.
Out there, you just hear the water and the wind, and you fish and nothing happens. And I really love fishing. Why shouldn't I?
Whether or not they wear uniforms, whether or not they get paid for taking chances, this series is dedicated to the real heroes who answer our calls for help and risk their lives to save the life of a stranger. I'm William Shatner. Join me next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.